Hello, hello, welcome everyone. This is part 2 of my color along out of Wish You Were Here. We are working on this here Safari page. This is also a freebie in Teresa's group if you would like to join in, follow along, or grab it and color your own way, whatever you prefer to do. For part 2, I think we're going to tackle some of these elephants, this little Jeep here, and then we'll kind of see how much time we have from there. So for the Jeep, I'm going to start there. I pulled moss green, bronze, and marine green. And I will apologize for the band-aid on my finger. I am still healing from a burn. I thought maybe a band-aid would be a little less ugly and distracting than a burn on my finger. Maybe not. We'll see. So I'm going to start with my marine green. Pardon the noise. And this is going to be just my shadow areas. So I am going to go for like that green safari Jeep feel. I am not going for like a shiny car, so I'm not going to worry about like any white highlights or anything like that because I don't feel like this would be a very shiny car. So I'm going to do the bottom of this. And again, I picked greens to go with the theme, but I picked completely different greens than what I put behind it because I didn't want anything to blend in or get lost. The details on the bottom of this Jeep here are a little hard to make out, so I'm just darkening the bottom of that. I'm going to do my little wheel fender here. Anywhere she has a thick black line, I'm going to go over it with marine green. And then anywhere extra, I feel like it needs a little darker. Okay, then I'm going to take my moss green, and anywhere I put that marine green, I'm just going to go over it. I'm going to back blend and bring it out a dot. So like down here, I'm going to go over it and bring it up toward that door. I'm not going to touch my fenders with it yet. This door here. You can see we're creating a highlight. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Now I'm going to do the top and bottom of these to also create that highlight. And then I'm going to do the back of the wheel. I'm not going to do this black. I'm going to do it to match the Jeep like it has a cover over it. I'm actually going to zoom in a little. Alright, sorry about that. Got a little excited and carried away and forgot to zoom in. So now this is my bronze. This is my lightest color, but it's also going to be my blending color. So again, I'm blending over the color I put down before it and bringing upwards. Now you will see a couple areas where I missed with the dark. I will go back and fill that in. I kind of filled in the areas I knew I wanted dark first. And if I didn't know, I left it alone. So my moss green was my darkest color. So now that I know these are part of the Jeep and in the back here, we can kind of come back and touch that up. Bring that in. I don't use this bronze pencil enough. So I'm glad I found something to use it on. Okay, again with the moss green with this sharp tip, I'm just going to kind of outline the lines running across the Jeep here. If you want a darker green, you can apply that, or a gray for shadows. Okay, I'm going to fill this in with the dark green and the bar in with the bronze. Even though it's little details, I still want to try to keep my shading and things on them so everything looks right. Okay, and then from there it will just be touch-ups on what you like and how you want it to look. for my tires, I am going to go a simple black and white route. So I am going to go black up here because I feel like it's going to be darker, and here. And I'm going to make them the same. So anywhere I put black on this wheel, I want to try to make black on this wheel. Now I have those white gaps. I'm going to start with my white, and I'm just going to pull that black down. And it's going to create a nice highlight for us. Now if it's a little too white, we can add just a dot to it. Kind of keep those tire treads there intact. And then when I get my grays out, I will come back and put the wheels on this here Jeep. Or the rims on this Jeep, I mean. Wheels, goodness. So again, just kind of touching up a couple spots where I got the black out very lightly. I don't want to use a whole lot of black, but I do want to define a couple things. Just on that grill and bumper there. Okay, so there is my Jeep minus the people that need colored in it. So now I'm going to hop over to these elephants, and I do apologize, I didn't get my other trees put in beforehand like I wanted to. For my elephant, I pulled 30% warm gray, 70% warm gray, and 30% cool gray. So depending on the elephant you are going for, whether you want more of a yellow, you might add putty beige. If you're wanting to keep them cool tones, you will stick with the cool grays. If you want more of a brown elephant, your French grays are great. So it's really up to you and the palette on your page for elephants. There is not a set color combo you have to use to get an effective elephant look. So my darkest color is 70% warm gray, and I'm going to color these little cross hatchings she put on them so that it you can't see the pencil line or her lines so much, so it looks more natural on the elephant. I'm going to color in some of his little nose lines, some crinkles, his eye. I want this tusk to stand out, so I am going to outline it a little bit. His knees, behind his leg, anywhere I want to be a little darker. Maybe the bottom of his belly, behind his head a little, his eyebrow. Okay, then I'm going to take that 30% warm gray, and I'm not going to color the whole thing with it. So notice I am still leaving whites. Everything I color, for the most part, there are exceptions to every rule, for the most part, even on the tiny objects such as this, I try to keep dark, medium, and light, just so you have dark for a shadow color and light for a highlight on whatever you're doing. I think on this grass I only used a couple colors, but they contrasted really well, and I wasn't looking for a highlight on grass, so it's totally up to you, but that's how I do things. Okay, then we're going to take that 30% cool gray, and we're going to finish off this elephant. So I'm in a circular motions, and I'm going to go over everything I put down. I thought that was his tail. I'm not sure if it is or not, so if you don't want it to be your tail, you can color it as the bushes or whatever you think. I thought elephants had like the long swishy tails, but I'm not sure on this one. Okay, again, circular motions. I will come back with a dark pen and add his eye back in and give it a little white highlight so his eye isn't covered in gray, and his tusks I will do in probably the putty beige. So just kind of going back and darkening up some of my dark that got washed away there. If I have any streaks, I'm kind of working those out. Okay. Now you can do your elephants different colors, so I might do this elephant a different palette, but I'm going to do this big one in this same palette. I don't know. Let's see. Let me get centered here. Okay. So this one is the same, just a larger scale. So where she has her dark lines, I'm putting my shadow, and I'm going to shadow right next to this ear. And it's up to you whether you want to go through the whole elephant and put all this dark gray in first, or if you want to go section by section and kind of blend it as you go. I kind of am just putting in my basics. So everywhere she has these little dark lines, this is where my dark color is going to go. She's kind of already gave us a clue where the shadows on our elephant should be. Okay, sorry about that, multitasking. So then I'm going to come back in again with my 30% warm gray. And again, if you want to go through and go do all your dark first, that is totally, that way works too. I'm kind of doing it this way because I'm doing it on video. So I kind of want you to be able to see the elephant come to life here a little bit. And then I have another baby elephant down here. So these two will probably be similar color palettes. Probably more of a yellowish because these ones are pretty gray. But if you want to do all four in the same palette, it's fine. I don't think elephants vary a whole lot in color when they're in their little herds, but for the sake of the picture itself, I'm switching mine up a little. Okay, and then again, I'm going in with my 30% cool gray. So 2 warms and a cool, and we're going to blend those together. Now again, if you want to go and base your whole elephant with this cool gray and then come back and put your darker, you can. Just remember that your dark will not be as dark when you're putting it over a lighter color. I'm a creature of habit. I always work darkest to lightest for the most part. And this will take a little bit of work and blending out to get it to look right, but it'll be worth it when we're done. So now we're just kind of playing with our grays here a little bit. Getting rid of any lines, any odd spots, highlights that don't look like they're in the right spot, anything like that. So remembering that this cool gray is my highlight color. So like up here on his head, this big spot, she has no color. The ear right here, this will all be, so that is where we will highlight. So I'm just going to kind of start down here at the nose. And so I'm just kind of blending those colors together. I'm not covering all of the cool gray with the warm gray, but I'm blending them to create some texture. again, I'm gonna have a little highlight here. I do want to be careful around my eye. I don't want my elephant to look like he has a black eye, but I do want it to stand out a little. Okay, so coming back in with my dark, because I didn't finish putting all these in. Sometimes I think I have ADHD the way I color, because I bounce around so much. Get bored quickly. I'm on to the next thing. I should do a speed coloring of me in coloring a page not for a color along. I'm sure that would be quite the show to watch. Okay, blending with this one. This over a little, and again, we will come back if it's looking like we have too much of this cool gray. We're going to come back and we're going to blend these together, right? Because we don't want any odd looking spots. So it will even out that little bit. And my gray is looking a little harsh, so I will probably come back and kind of tone that down a little too, once I get a little further in and see what I like here. There. So there, that will help our gray, especially right here around his eyes. Not be as harsh. Darkening down here because I do want that to be a little darker. And then we will do the same thing all the way around on his ears. And what this is doing is creating that highlight in the center of his ear there. And I might even add just a touch of this dark gray coming out in a couple places. Just help smooth that a little. Again. I'm going to do this little section off camera real quick. Okay, so mine needs some blending and some final little touch-ups. This is going to be how my big old elephant ear looks. And again, I am going to come back and kind of touch up, but for the sake of having to watch me go over and over with the same 3 colors on this little elephant ear here, that's going to be our basic. So if you don't like it as dark, you can go back over with your lighter colors, touch it up, or darken your lighter colors, however you want to do it. I am fairly happy with that elephant as is there. So the next thing I'm going to tackle is, let's turn this off real quick, one sec. My giraffe, and then on the next video all we will have left is the ground and the water, so we can wrap this up in probably 3 parts. So give me 1 minute to pull those colors. Okay, so I'm going to go for a fairly yellowish giraffe, just because I don't want it to be too pale with all the bright yellows and things I have up here. So this is yellow ochre. And I am putting my yellow on first so that when I put the brown on my spots, I don't smear it everywhere and have the brown in my yellow and all kinds of stuff like that. So again, I'm gonna go around all these little dots with this yellow ochre. And again, I have trouble sticking to one spot, so I skip around because that's what my brain does. I'm not worried about getting the yellow in the spots. The brown's gonna cover it for one, and for two it will just look like it's the giraffe. So I am gonna also bring in a goldenrod and a cream. So my cream is gonna come up here on her face. Again, remember that it may smear the ink on. And I'm just gonna lighten a couple areas for highlights. And then goldenrod, pardon the noise. I didn't think to get this far, so I didn't have my supplies ready. Let's center a little bit. I'm just going to shadow the bottom of her face with this and her nose, her ear. This is where it gets a little tricky, in between the spots on the bottom of her neck. And I'm gonna do like this whole little chest area, down her leg, down this leg, and then right here. And then that way it just creates a little bit of dimension for her. So again, we used a light, medium, and dark even on the outside of her spots. Okay, we're going to take sepia, where I am anyway, on the outside of all of these. And then I will take burnt ochre for the inside. Now, if you don't like the reddish color, I brought this color in because of my trees up here. You can do just the brown, you can do just the burnt ochre, you can do goldenrod and dark brown, whatever works for your giraffe. Again, animals are pretty versatile to match the color palette of the page you are working on. So as long as you have the general colors in, people are going to know this is an elephant. They're going to know this is a giraffe. So some of these smaller spots, we might even just leave the sepia color. Just to add a little versatile there. Variety, I should say, not versatile. So that will be my giraffe. Now on her hair up here, I am going to do the flick. And it will be kind of hard to see because of the stuff behind it and the line she has already drawn in, but I do want that to look a little longer and a little fuzzier. And then I'm going to take very little black, but I'm going to sharpen to a sharp point. And I'm going to run this down her neckline. And then I will flick a couple of these in as well. Oh, I got her spot. Don't be like me. Don't get her spots. All right. So I'm gonna call it there. So there is where we are so far. I hope you enjoyed part 2. I will get this and this finished up and hopefully a tree or two and put it on the thumbnail if you'd like to see it completed as far as we have made it. Questions, comments, requests, anything like that, please let me know, and I hope to see you for part 3. Thanks for watching.